Hey y'all, what's up? It's Friday, so I'm gonna keep it black, but I'm gonna keep it brief. Y'all remember last week when I basically said that the ability to walk and chew gum at the same time is damn near imprinted on the chromosomal DNA of Black Americans? Well, America, I hate to inform you that even though our attentions are spread across various locations around the globe at this time, don't think for a second that we forgot about your ass. On May 9th, a senior airman by the name of Roger Fortson was shot and killed by a police officer in Florida who came to the wrong door. Police were called by somebody in the leasing office due to a disturbance, but she kept telling that man that she did not know what apartment the disturbance was coming from, but for whatever reason, ended up giving him Roger's apartment number. Roger, being a member of the armed forces, grabbed his weapon when he heard a banging at the door, but didn't see nobody in the peephole. The body cam footage that was released shows Roger opening the door, armed by his side, gun pointed down as a trained service member would position a weapon when there was not yet a confirmed threat. Hello? And there it is. But before the officer could even give him a warning to drop his weapon, he shot him 6 times. Roger was only 23 years old. And as I got to reading all the things the family and friends of this 23-year-old boy had to say, it really set in for me just how much we cannot win when it comes to policing as it stands. That our Black lives are simply not going to matter, irregardless of what we got going on. This man subscribed to American family core values. Family was everything to him, spending quality time with his sisters, taking trips to the amusement park, and when his family didn't have food on their table, he was sure to stand in the gap. He also loved dogs. They said he was always on FaceTime with his dog, the dog that can be seen in the body cam footage at the time of the shooting. Do you know how many whites would form an uprising if a white person was killed by police without warning in front of their dog? And on top of all that, he was a patriot. Literally, he was top of his class, an exemplary airman and comrade to which his peers attest that he was the epitome of the Air Force's official core values, which are integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all that he does. Service before self? It would seem as though another group of voluntary public servants 12 could learn a thing or two from the Air Force. Not too much. They're already looking for any excuse to militarize. Wait a minute, that's a lie, because they don't look for any excuse actually, nor do they offer any real explanation. Do you know, I ended up sitting down for drinks last week with a man that worked directly under the mayor of Atlanta. And when I discovered this, in the middle of my crawfish and frozen drink, I had to ask him verbatim, you gotta tell me why the mayor's standing 10 toes down on all this Cop City shit. And come here. Just for a moment, I want you to conjure the image of whatever you think when you think of the word meathead. And whatever you think might come out of a meathead's mouth. The man didn't have any answers, y'all. Not even some backhanded explanation of why we need Cop City. Talking about the people who say stop Cop City are the same people who say defund the police. Yes. Can you imagine what the city would look like if there were no cops? That's not what defund the police means, head. The only thing he said that I could agree with is that our police need training, just not in the ways that these training facilities plan to train them. Given the treatment of our young people on these college campuses, i.e. UCLA letting a Zionist mob attack students for hours one night, then arresting and camping students within an hour for trespassing the next, or the recently leaked information that billionaires and business titans were pressing New York's mayor to use police force on Columbia students as a part of deliberate efforts to shift the public's perception in Israel's favor. You could try, but you could never. And of course, the full court press included bribes, campaign donations. So yes, the entire structure, from the men who sit in the boardrooms, to the men strapping on riot gear for college kids, to the men who shoot first fearing for their lives when they signed up to fear for their lives, all need reform. So yes, on the list of the people's demands for an immediate end to the fascism bubbling under the surface of our democracy, decolonizing the policing system in the U.S. remains at the top. Can you decolonize something that is an inherent tool of colonization? No! And that's why there's another class of people saying abolish the police. And don't be reductive. Don't waste our time. We are not dumb. We don't want the streets to run themselves. What we want is a system of community-empowered governance that is protected by public servants who work to prevent crime rather than just catch crime and inevitably kill people in the process. And we not out here just talking out our ass like y'all. Movement for Black Lives, as well as several other grassroots organizations, have laid it out for you. Values, messaging, courses of action, but y'all don't like to read. And I also want to say that given that Roger Fortson was a member of the armed forces need to be doing a lot more than ceremonial dressings and customs for his funeral proceedings. You all need to be stepping to these wannabe mini-me's, causing chaos, turning combat training onto American citizens, making that national anthem you like to stand for out to be a farce, because it's giving land of the unfree and home of the cowards, and you should be embarrassed. And another thing, officers, now I'm talking to you. Defunding or abolishing the police does not mean you have to be out of a job. In fact, it could create a job that is safer for you and your community. Oh, but then you'd have to let go of your racism. And I'm not saying it's all of y'all, but it's an overwhelming majority. And what's more, it's not just the white ones. Colonialism and racism are so deeply embedded into the lineage of policing in the United States that the superiority complex be infiltrating Black, brown, and Asian officers like a flesh-eating virus. And you don't know it's there until you've been eaten alive. And I know so many anti-Black, anti-community, anti-neighborhood cops cops that may have started out trying to make a difference but could not see the force of systemic oppression for the trees of criminalization. And so they hate us just as much as the rest of them. And this is why people be saying all cops are bastards, and I don't blame them. Don't you got family that's the feds? Yeah, and they're gonna have to take that up with the Lord.